Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. This is Dr. Cho Ayaba. Yesterday, I was listening to an audio message from one of our refugees from Biafra land. At the beginning, it was heart-wrenching listening to her cries, but the moment she moved into political issues, I felt like she was being used to propagate, the divisive political agenda that is symptomatic of the Maryland cartel and the continuous perpetuation of political refugees as victims of poverty. This is what we must know. Our refugees are victims of the brutality of Cameroon. They are heroes of the resistance and they should be treated as such. Refugees have played a significant role in the liberation of peoples and in the education of their host countries of the reasons that compel them to escape. And while we understand the discrepancies in terms of location, we also think it's important for us not to stigmatize refugees. We must treat them with respect. We must treat them with heroism, and we must treat them as participants in our struggle for self-determination. So too are prisoners. Prisoners across the globe have played significant roles in liberation struggles. We know only of the Mandela's high-profile prisoners. The leader of the PKK, the Kurdish separatist movement, was kidnapped from Kenya and rendition to Turkey. He's been in jail where he has been playing a significant role in their struggle for independence. So too are other leaders in history in liberation struggles. Palestinian refugees in Lebanon, in Syria, in Egypt, in Iran have been the bedrock of Palestinian resistance for self-determination. While they have lived in squalor, they have exploited their environment to build the next generation of fighters who have been fighting for more than 50 years today. I don't want to come across as trying to undermine the pain of our refugees, but as a refugee myself, I I lived in a camp where there were three sets of refugees. There were political refugees, there were economic refugees, and there were perpetual victims. Perpetual victims are accepted their statehood, they accepted monthly vouchers, they accepted what the Germans imposed as residence obligation law, where you could not move, say, from central city of Bamenda to upstation without getting a permission. They accepted to be humiliated by the Germans on a daily basis. We live in a camp where every night the door is broken into and refugees carted away and deported. You have an Ambazonian refugee who is now in Germany. He was picked up early morning, taken to the deportation camp. He stayed there for a couple of weeks. We fought as hard to get him out. We have another Ambazonian refugee who was put in an Air France flight bound to La République. I bought a ticket on that same flight. I walked into that flight and she was seated behind with two police officers. I moved, that's the first time I ever entered the cockpit. And I spoke to the pilot. I explained to him in our country there is systematic torture. And if that lady were to be deported, he might somehow be held responsible for facilitating torture, which has universal jurisdiction in terms of prosecution. And she was let go. I can count thousands and thousands of refugees across the globe that I have spoken for them, educated them on the substance of their application, and we continue to support refugees. We also send delegates to Biafra land to support these refugees. The evidence is there. Who was attacked by some of the refugees because they had either been divided between the splinter and the IG. So we step back. So we continue to think about the refugees. We just launched a resettlement program because we think the situation in Nigeria warrants that our refugees are resettled in Europe, in North America, and in other places. And if we work hard as leaders, we'll get these refugees resettled rather than exploiting their vulnerability for political profiling. I know you have argued that the alliance, exacerbates or is the source of the peril that our refugees face. The facts speak differently. A few months ago, and I think I still have the audio, I addressed an audio to the governor and appealing to him after they had held a public meeting asking the refugees to move back because the situation back at home was okay. Through networks, I addressed an audio to him, appealing to him to understand that this has been a 60-year-old issue. It's not going away until our independence. I'm not sure if that made an impact. Maybe it did. But we have continuously argued for the plight of our refugees and for possibilities for them to live in situations of dignity. And we will push ahead with our agenda of resettlement because we've done it before. As I explained, that's what we did with Dr. Hakwanga and more than 30 others. As I also said the other day, 2020 alone, the UNHCR resettled more than 6,000 DRC citizens. It resettled more than 1,500 Eritreans. We resettled thousands of Somalians. And we have all watched, Syrians in their hundreds of thousands being moved from areas of insecurity, continuous fighting, to areas of safety where they can then be integrated. So I hope that our refugees should understand that these things will be done for them. Secondly, before I get into our alliance issue on the consequentiality of decisions we make, let everyone know that decisions we make for the liberation of homeland has consequences on personal liberties, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, of liberty. They have consequences. And I don't think we don't give consideration to those consequences. When we lock down our homeland every Mondays, it has huge financial consequences on our buy and sellers, on our taxi drivers, on our bike riders. But they accept those consequences in exchange for a greater price, that of freedom. When prisoners are taken into isolation and kept incommunicado, if we simply said, all right, now we are all Cameroonians, we refuse to fight, they will be freed. They have accepted, that continuous resistance in exchange for, total independence. There are commanders who raid prisons. There are commanders who raid different areas, knowing fully well that the military might come in there and burn down those villages. What do you think the villages would think? Oh, stop attacking these places because there are consequences on us. They would encourage our soldiers to raid and dismantle those systems of perennial ills in exchange for independence. So there are consequences across the different sectors of our population because of the decisions we make, actions we take. And in entering the Biafran alliance, we thought about it seriously. Can we get Nigeria on our side? We wouldn't want to get Nigeria at the expense of Biafra. We will never betray any people for our own freedom. Never. Not under my leadership. We will never side with an oppressive regime against a people within that oppressive system fighting for independence. We could make our independent alliance with Nigeria, but not at the expense of Biafra. If our alliance with Nigeria is going to be at the expense of Biafra, I will stop it. We can never be seen in history as having been the people who betrayed others. The Funchals, the UK has never been forgiven for the role they played in our betrayal. And so we should be very, very careful. There are consequences on these things. And some people argue that, the alliance should have been kept secret. From whom? It should have been kept secret from La République, from Nigeria, as though they don't have intelligence services. It should have been kept secret from the world. Or it should have been kept secret from the Ambazonian people. Wouldn't it have been leaked by some of the same people of the cartel? Do you think if the cartel ever realized we had entered into a secret alliance with the Biafrans, they would have said, oh no, if we leak this stuff out, it's going to affect our refugees? No, they will be thinking of how it will hurt Ayaba. They set up a network of prank in London on a supposed oil deal. Why didn't they keep that secret? If it had consequences on our liberation or a sector of our society. We don't take lessons from these dim-witted charlatans who have jumped into the struggle thinking that, they were on their way to Bafoussam. We don't take lectures from numbskulls from Lebialem who wax his mouth like a dog's tail on a daily basis, putting out divisive messages. We don't take lessons or lectures from these band of, I don't know how to describe them. They don't give us lectures. Oh, when they were impeaching their own leader who was in jail, did they think of the consequences on his security, on his liberty, on his dignity? These hypocrites want to lecture. We will ban these guys in a jail together. Their own leader, I can imagine, their own leader who is captured from the country now that they are asking to work with them, deported to the country that has killed more than 30,000 of theirs. They went online. They could not impeach him secretly and send him a letter and say, you've been impeached for the following crimes, and now they put themselves forward. When they were shouting that he was compromised, did they think about what it will mean to him? Let me give you an example. When Akwanga was in jail, we sent a TV set. There were more than 40 Ambazonians then. Akwanga was in a different section. Sent the TV set. Akwanga took that TV set and there was uproar. I sent him a message. I said, hey, my brother, give this TV set to the majority of the prisoners. You are the leader. He was very, very angry. The next day, he had sent a long rebuttal, angry letter. I called him in the morning to get a call from late Dr. Yombang. I looked at the call, it was so early. I went into my email and saw Dr. Yombang had written. Just said, Cho, don't respond. And I was like, to what? When I read Akwanga's letter, it was terrible. I weighed the odds. How will I respond to someone who is caged? I have never responded to that letter. I continued as though nothing happened. Because I knew anything I did will only bring his morale, weaken his spirit. These gangsters could put a man that they instrumentalize for their political agenda and put at the helm of the struggle. They instrumentalized Siseko. A band of other cartels took a guy who believed, he could make his own contribution. They had been looking for who to topple Ayaba. They tried Bo Herbert. They thought communication was my strength. They tried Bo Herbert, it didn't work. They brought my own brother again, Larry Eyong Echo. It didn't work. They asked who is the next victim we can use against this Ayaba. They went and got Siseko. They got a nice father, a nice husband, and tried to instrumentalize. When he was hijacked and taken to Yaoundé, what did they do? Did they launch a campaign for him? They impeached him publicly, said he was compromised. What did you say? Did you think of, oh, keep this thing secret? Ambazonians, are you ready for independence? Are you ready to pay the price that it takes to be free? You think this thing is, you agitate a bit, you adjust here, are you ready for the day that the United States will stand up and say, we are opposed to independence? Are you ready for the day that the United Kingdom will even send forces to support La Republique? Will you still be fighting? Are you ready for the day that 1,000 Nigerian troops will cross into Ambazonian? You know the number of troops that the Ethiopians sent into Asmara? More than 100,000. They did not stop independence. Somebody asked me the other day when I addressed Australia, what if the Ambazonian people decide today that they are tired and we are going in for federation? This is what I told him. I will fight a one-man struggle against La Republique. One-man fight. And if you don't want it, I will die in exile, my body burned, my ashes thrown into the sea, down to live under Cameroon. The gangster, they call him Papa Ghana, who came out the other day was talking about, we are going to crush secessionists. We are going to... One of the good things about this alliance is that it has made secret bedfellows, side chick guys, to come into public. The alliance was in secret. They were there kidnapping our people. They were there facilitating the attack on our refugees. They were there facilitating Cameroon's incursion through Nigeria into our land. How did they attack Daddy? They went through Nigeria. This alliance has exposed them. The guy who made that statement, do you know where he comes from? He comes from Borno State. It's under the control of Boko Haram. His own state is under the control of Boko Haram. That is the same guy who was National Security Advisor to Buhari, who received millions of dollars from La Republique to facilitate the kidnapping and rendition of Siseko Ayoktabe. That guy running his mouth, that he wants to attack Ambazon. Let him free his own state from Boko Haram. Their alliance with Niger, Chad, Cameroon has not stopped Boko Haram, terrorizing students, attacking states. They attacked the Nigerian Academy, Nigerian Military Academy, and took students away. These are the guys who want to crush secessionists. Do they want me to tell, how bankrupt they are? Our alliance with Biafra will continue. We have not declared war on Nigeria. We have never attacked Nigeria. We will never attack Nigeria. Nigeria should not make the mistake that Cameroon made. Buhari should release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, engage in meaningful discussions on the aspirations of the Biafran people. That's the only way that Nigeria will be saved. It is not because of this alliance that, these charlatans are meeting and running their mouth. It is because of Biafran resistance. It is because the consequences of Biafran lockdowns on Monday on Nigeria's economy. What is it that Nigeria wants to offer Cameroon that it has not been offering in the past 5 years? Just to make us know in public, right? It kidnapped our refugees. Most of those people who were deported were refugees in Nigeria. Tanto was a refugee. Others were refugees. Was the alliance there? The alliance was not there. My people, there is a price we will have to pay to be free. Not every decision we make will not have consequences. We take our time to engage. This alliance had been there for long. You never heard of it. It was even published on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's Facebook page. We asked him to take it down. When we realized that Cameroon's alliance with Nigeria was continuing, and following discussions with our Biafran counterpart, we decided we were going to make it public. There will be some consequences, but the benefits are far-reaching. Cameroon, who claimed this was a domestic issue, has made it now international. The so-called secret deals that they have had is now open. There is nothing Nigeria can offer Cameroon to fight Ambazonian. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is absolutely nothing Nigeria can do against Ambazonia. We have not attacked it. We have not called for attacks on Nigeria. We must be prepared. We must be prepared. Pakistan became independent, I think, 1947. India decided that it was going to punish Pakistan by cutting off Bangladesh. It bombed Pakistan. It supported Bangladesh. People were asking, ally with Taiwan when we were in Umpo. Oh, ally with Taiwan. Did we think of the consequences that it will impose on us if China reacted? We are free. We have an obligation to defend it. I pray for our refugees. I want you to be strong. Don't see yourselves as perpetual victims. Stand up as freedom fighters. Our refugee women should think about the Kurdish Women Brigade. Our refugee men should think about the refugee camps that were in Uganda. From there, build the foundation of the resistance that brought in Kagame. The refugees that left Europe, United States to enter Kosovo to fight for its liberation. The refugees across the globe that have made a huge difference in the liberation of their own homeland. That is how I want our refugees to be remembered. I don't want you to be remembered as people who were being given bags of rice. You need food, yes, but you need freedom more. With freedom, you will be able to feed yourself. God bless.